Haere mai, haere mai. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. On behalf of the Friends of the Avonhead Cemetery, we thank you for joining us today. For today we remember the 185 lives that were lost, and many of their remains interred in this very significant memorial site that we stand here today with. We remember the friends and families who lost loved ones that day, from both here and overseas. And we remember all those who lived through the devastation and loss of that day, because we all remember exactly where we were at 12:51 p.m. on the 22nd of February 2011. We take this opportunity to remember, to reflect, and to acknowledge. And as well as acknowledging the losses, we also acknowledge some of the positives that come out of it. Because out of any devastation and loss, there is some positives to come out of it. So we acknowledge the community spirit that was built in our city as a result of this. The 800 farmers who brought their tractors into town to help clean up our city. The 10,000 students who volunteered their time to help our neighbours clean up their property. The 350 people who created a baking army that made sure all of our workers were fed and delivered food into the areas that needed it most. 1,000 volunteers from the Rangiora earthquake system, where they delivered 45,000 tonnes of food to families in the east that really needed it the most. And to the rescue workers that joined us from the United Kingdom, the United States, Taiwan and Australia and other countries as well. And we take this time to also remember and reflect and acknowledge the work that they did. Because the rescue workers, tirelessly after the earthquake, and it was over 24 hours later that they pulled the last survivor out of one of the buildings, Anne Bodkin. So we remember their efforts, and we stand here eternally grateful for the work and support of the community and its spirit that's built. Because while an earthquake may destroy our buildings and infrastructure, it ultimately strengthens the heart and spirit of any city. And if we remember this phrase, He aha te mea nui Aotearoa. He tangata, he tangata, he tangata. What is the most important thing? It's our people. It's our people, it's our people. And the first of our people who are going to share a memorial to today is welcoming Koba Intermediate onto the stage to share part of their story with us. Thank you to Philippa and the team from Cobham Intermediate. There's some real talent there and also some great harmonies. You guys did a great job, thank you. I'd like now to introduce the chair of the Friends of the Avonhead Cemetery Trust. So the Friends of the Avonhead Cemetery Trust is committed to a partnership with the City Council and to ensure that the Avonhead Memorial Park Cemetery is treated with the respect it deserves as a living memorial to those that have passed. I give you Mr. Clive Paris.
Thank you, Carl. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming here today. Two thank yous I'd like to make. One is to the committee for organising today, Carl, Patricia Paris, Ray Wilson and the other members of the committee for putting this event on and organising the schools, etc. and visitors. Particular thanks to the ground staff. It's not often that I will give thanks to council workers, but they've really excelled themselves, got the cemetery up to speed. The place is looking pristine. Where else in the world would you get a cemetery like this? The roses and the backdrop, the hay bales in the background, it truly does look amazing and shows the respect to the deceased people that we're here for today. I'd particularly like to thank Cobham School for their performance today. We soon got to hear from the Kids First Kindergarten next door. They put on an item for us. And particularly like to remember and like to remind ourselves that the children that are performing here today, some of them were only 2 or 3 years old at the time of the event, and some of them from kindergarten, they weren't even born. And it's important that we pass on the learnings from the event and pass on the history and they can take that going forward. Part of the cemetery committee, we're committed to get a name change to call it the Memorial Cemetery here, and I think that will reflect the surroundings that we're standing in today. And we'd like your support going forward with that. But on behalf of the committee, thank you for your participation, thank you for Cobham School, thank you for Kids First, and everyone else that's going to be done.
Thank you, Clive. And we'd certainly like to acknowledge the work that you and the trustees do on behalf of the Avonhead Cemetery. Now the tamariki are a really important part of our futures, and I'd like to call on now the Hawthornden Kindergarten, who are our closest neighbours here to the cemetery, to come along and share a performance from them.
Tēnā koutou katoa. We are the kaiko tamariki and whānau of ngā tamariki ki mua o Hawthornden, or Kids First Kindergarten Hawthornden. Our place is just over the fence over there. We regularly visit the cemetery and we've linked up with the Friends of Avonhead Cemetery group and come here probably fortnightly. We pick up rubbish, we right the flowers that have been tipped over and sort of keep an eye on the place. Since 2012 we've been independently coming over here to just quietly visit this place on every 22nd of February. We bring flowers, we say our karakia. This year we're grateful to have been invited to be part of this community event. We'll start by saying our karakia tematanga, which is our morning blessing that we say at kindergarten. It translates as, may peace be in this place with us all for this time while we are together. We're then going to sing a waiata, tu tira mai, ngā mihi o hi ahi ahi koutou.